very health conscious, individual, but like going down the natural foods aisle is like
It's not practical.
It's
for
not.
us.
I'd rather just buy like the healthier like whole wheat option of the cheaper bread instead of.
Like say you're at home on your parents' time, would you consider?
Then yes, I'd for sure consider it. But as a college student being on a budget, no. And I have considered it.
Yeah.
I think a lot of times what deters people away is like hearing how people complain about gluten-free products. Like, it doesn't taste as good. Let's just be honest. It's not as good as like being able to eat whatever you want. But for people who have gluten intolerances or wheat or any kind of carb intolerance or anything, there's a lot of other factors that make it worse too, like salt and things like that. So the flavoring is not as strong. You have to get creative. So to like buy it, you have to doctor it up to make it taste like what somebody else is eating.
Almost time consuming.
Yeah, well, and I mean, just if you try one of your friend's gluten-free products, you're like, okay, that doesn't taste like my Triscuit. Well, of course not, because your Triscuit has everything in it that we can't eat. So.
So for the non-gluten-free, we've kind of touched this, but like, how do you perceive gluten-free people as a whole? Like, just like, what do you think their motives are typically?
Usually I think it's an intolerance. I don't automatically think like that they're just doing it on purpose.
Yeah.
Or I mean like
I'm
a
crazy, but
lifestyle change. I mean, and I know you're not.
Everyone has a very but no,
I think
it
it's
is.
cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think a lifestyle
like,
change is
like
cool.
vegan, vegetarian, gluten free. It's all kind of like getting more popular nowadays, and people are trying to be like more healthy and just trend now.
Especially with like the rising prevalence of like Whole Foods and places like that, like Dillon's having the huge natural foods aisle. It's becoming more like accessible, which is good. And you guys are acknowledging that.
Yeah. So real quick, for those of you who are gluten free, just when did you first find out, like gluten intolerance? Yeah. Gluten intolerance.
Well, I started having really bad symptoms when I did eat it. I think my freshman year of college, and then for a year they couldn't figure it out, and it was really awful. And then last year, beginning of last school year, is when I found out, just because someone suggested it, and so then I finally went and asked.
Yeah, I thought my allergy was dairy and red meat, and then it turned out once I cut out the carbs, I have gout. So then as soon as I cut out the carbs, the inflammation went down. I was able to get off one of the medications. So.
Like you said, high school.
We actually thought it was soy for most of my life, so I didn't eat soy until freshman year. More research came out.
So did your doctors recommend any specific brands for you to buy, or?
Well, mine I have the strongest reaction with meats, things that are high in sodiums, because you don't realize certain chicken breasts have gluten on them, just because of the preservatives and things. So Purdue chicken makes an entirely gluten-free line. So.
Well, so I know some people have a particular gluten-free brand that they're loyal to, because some gluten-free brands will still make certain gluten intolerant people feel sick after they eat it. So how did you just whatever makes you taste whatever tastes best to you, or whatever makes you feel best after you eat it? Is that how you become brand loyalty for gluten-free products? Or?
I just kind of tried a little everything until I found something. Because some are breads especially, some are seriously awful. It's cardboard and just it's awful. And then some are better. And so I just kind of tried 5 different kinds until I found the one that I like.
What's the one that you like?
I think it's called. I just know what it looks like.
What does it look like?
It's green. It's a green, and it's in a greenish bag. Is it what?
Is it easy?
No, it's a short name. They make bagels.
Is it Udi's? Is it
I think that's what
not
it is,
Udi's,
though,
but
'cause
Udi's
Udi's
is
is same. They
I
really
think
did,
that- how do you spell that?
UDIS.
Oh yes.
So there's a
Udi's.
brand called Udi's that is just like
Yes, that's
Rudy's, but
Yes.
it's different.
That's
Yeah.
good competition. The reason
That
that
is
I
good
eat Udi's instead of Rudy's is because my mom's a big low sugar person, and it has a lot more protein and a lot of some less carbs.
Okay.
But
And
it's
so,
the same ingredients as Ruby's.
so Rudy's has more sugar in it though.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright, so now back to everyone. Have you guys like ever seen like gluten-free advertised anywhere? And if so, where do you see it?
Well, this semester I moved to KC, and so I have access to Whole Foods, Natural Grocers, and Trader Joe's within 10 minutes of my house. And like a lot of times I'll see like signs that say we have this and gluten free. Also, it's a lot cheaper there, but I've definitely seen a lot more increase that we have this and gluten free and signs outside.
This is from Lawrence, Kansas City.
Yeah, from Lawrence.
Okay.
It was very like I wasn't trying to be gluten free then, but like since I moved to Kansas, it's so much cheaper. But I've noticed that they have the signs and they have a lot more specialty products that don't taste like cardboard that you can actually eat that are under $5.
So probably the bigger the city,
Yeah.
the more opportunities you're going to have.
What about like restaurants? Do you guys like find that at restaurants you have to specifically ask for a gluten-free menu, or do they like say like, oh, and we have a gluten like somewhere on their menu does it say they have gluten-free options?
I can't think of anything like actually specific, but I feel like usually on the menus
It says something.
it says somewhere.
Like Chili's and Applebee's will do like a GF next
Yeah,
to it
yeah.
and like all those, but a lot of times at like the smaller restaurants, they'll have one, you just have to ask them to bring it out.
I did go to Beer Kitchen in Westport, and they actually automatically gave us a gluten free menu. Yeah.
That's another thing is
That's
alcohol. There's so much
Yeah.
gluten
Yeah.
in alcohol.
Vodka.
Is
Mhm.
So what types of alcohol do you guys prefer then?
Hard cider.
I kind of just suck it up.
I
I just deal with it like the next day, and I usually feel like extra awful.
Do you ever do that with any food, or is it just with
No,
alcohol?
yeah, food I like stay away from, but just because alcohol just gets like it starts getting too hard to like figure out like what is like fine to drink, and so I just kind of feel it. I don't drink beer though for sure, but like
Yeah, that's
vodka
right.
and stuff is like it's harder to figure out like which ones have like I guess gluten in them. So I just do it.
So while we're kind of on the topic of restaurants and stuff, do you feel like restaurant employees have a good enough knowledge of gluten-free? Should it be like part of their mandatory training? Same with like store employees.
I feel like they have no idea
Yeah.
majority of the time. Some people don't really even know what gluten is. They just think it's like something. They have no idea like what it like.
What's the typical perception you get from a waiter? Like, do they think it's
When
just
you ask
bread,
them,
or just
I don't know. Some like literally just have no idea, and I have to kind of explain like, oh, it's
Yeah,
like
I
wheats
really
and
don't
rice
know.
and stuff. Yeah, I mean, I had no idea either.
A lot of them think it's either like bread or pasta,
Uh-huh.
but it can be anything
And,
from
like,
like chicken
sauces,
to certain
like-
cheeses, sauces. Yeah, it's bad.
A lot of them will say, "Oh, we'll just take the bread off," and I'm like, "That no, that's not
Yeah.
the same
Yeah.
thing."
now? Do you feel like grocery stores is better, or is it the same?
Since I can shop at like Whole Foods and Trader Joe's, like they're fine, but I don't even really attempt asking if somebody has something at like at Hy-Vee. I don't want to spend 20 minutes being frustrated when I can just Google this.
Dylan's has like everything that's gluten free. They have like a little sign like by like the price tag or whatever that usually says like gluten free or not.
Let's say like have any of you like ever gone to like Walmart and asked someone? Like,
I do now. I
Yeah,
eat at Walmart, so I
gluten-free.
don't go there.
yeah.
You have to like know the brand you're looking for.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so do you guys tend to do like a lot more research before you go to shop? Like, do you try to like check out like find stores?
I Google everything.
Yeah.
Are there any helpful apps you guys have used?
I downloaded one, but it kind of sucks. It's I don't know. It's called I mean gluten or something. Or I'm not finding gluten.
Do you think it could be like a very useful thing to have on your phone, like maybe like a scanner?
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
something
I
like that?
use Fujicake because it like breaks down everything, and if like something has a certain amount of carbs in it, I just assume I'm gonna get sick.
Yeah.
So I like break it down that way.
Well, my app it like pulls up restaurants like in your area that's like they have like gluten free like menus and stuff, and then like it usually gives you like a link and you can go and see like what like specifically is like broken down into what's gluten free. That's kind of cool.
Well, now back to the stores. Obviously, we've kind of touched on this, but like, so the price of the brand is very important. Obviously, as a college student, do you notice a significant price difference in like different gluten-free brands that like influence your decision, or are they all like the same?
I think they're all somewhat similar.
I think the price is more important for people who don't get sick Because as soon as you start getting sick, you're like, it's worth it.
Yeah.
To just
Yeah.
go spend the extra $3 because I'm not going to be like over toilet or like
Yeah.
dying in pain or something.
And it's typically like a $3 difference between a normal loaf of bread.
Okay, if you're going to buy like Sara Lee, then that's like $2.95. If you're going to buy gluten free, it's like $5.95.
For sure. Yeah. Okay, well, for those of you who, like Katie, Jamie, and Haley, who didn't have, do you feel like, or anyone who's not gluten free, do you feel like you have a greater knowledge about like what gluten free is and why? Just from hearing all these people's talk.
I think it's kind of like a vegetarian thing and like a low calories food, right? I don't know. I'm just
To an extent, it's like certain people have allergies to gluten, and it's found in like lots of products, like they said, ranging from anything to from chicken to obviously we talked about bread a lot. But yeah, and so like before you thought it was like kind of a vegetarian option, like a just healthy eating option. That's what we thought too.
Really quickly, just to touch, for the people who are gluten free, you would probably be in agreement that it's usually almost just as fattening, if not more fattening.
Yeah.
So I think that's like something that people just don't really know is it's really not. It's healthier for you, but so you were saying earlier that the products that are more fattening, you do Udi's because Rudy's is more fattening.
it has more sugar.
It has more sugar. So for Rudy's, are you in agreement for that product?
I
Like,
don't
would
know
that
if it-
affect your decision?
I know for my mom it does because when she first, like, she makes everything homemade except for certain things that are just really hard to make gluten free.
Mhm.
But she found that everything like in the store, it's so high in fat. There's so much more butter in it that it actually, like, a lot of people that go gluten free gain a lot of weight because instead of like certain kinds of products that you use in baking that do have gluten, you use 5 tablespoons more of butter and things like that. So yeah, like the calorie restriction is huge because they often have to offset the taste with the sugar and everything else. Yeah, so I know for my mom that was big, like comparing the two.
One of my friends this summer went on a gluten-free diet just to lose weight, and she actually ended up gaining 7 pounds.
Yeah.
So she was not too happy with that.
The sodium is
Yeah.
sometimes really high because they're just trying to flavor it. So, but I've noticed with a lot of people that I know that are gluten free or have a gluten intolerance, that sodium, and for me too, makes it worse. Like the water retention is what makes like your face puffy and everything, like hurting your joints and things like that. So it's like, and the headaches get worse.
I
But
don't know if you can tell, but like we live together, so like through this
we trade
together.
stories on what's wrong with gluten. But yeah, it's like the sodium makes it bad. So a lot of times what you think is healthy isn't.
Well, for those of you who aren't gluten-free, especially based on what Alyssa's talked about, would you guys ever consider that as an option?
Honestly, based on like the pricing, probably not. And then also, I'm really picky eater, so like taste is a big thing for me. So I probably wouldn't.
Despite the fact that you felt like more up and up and at it.
I like all of them. Yeah.
Too much of a sacrifice.
I feel like I would get frustrated a lot, especially just
I'd be like,
signing
crap,
up.
I just ate it.
Yeah. I mean, because we both like we don't eat meat that often, and it like even sometimes. Or, like, and
Remember-
she tried going dairy free.
Yeah,
and, like,
I tried to do like vegan and for like a vet for 3 days, and I remember like we went to the store and got like chips, and
yeah,
I was like, crap, these have cheddar in them. That's dairy. Like, I can't do this.
I just get really frustrated at times. But.
So you guys feel like it's a big sacrifice of taste.
I feel like I would forget like what's in things. Like it's really hard. If it was just bread, then I would like realize it, but it's in so many different things that I probably wouldn't be able to do it.
I think I would want to try it for the energy thing, but I think it would be really hard. Yeah, if it was just like cutting out bread or pasta or
Yeah.
grains, like something like that, then probably. But
Yeah. I
now
know.
knowing that it's in everything, probably not.
Yeah, I know. Like after the research we've done, I have so much more. Like I knew it was hard, but I have so much more respect for people.
Yeah.
Because it's like so much work
especially if you like how you get so sick, like you guys have like intolerances.
Especially like developing like later in
Yeah,
life after
yeah.
you
After eating.
After
anything you wanted
Forever,
ever.
whenever you
Yeah.
Or like pasta.
Yeah.
Veggie pasta is just not as good.
Yeah. Have you guys ever just like craved something so bad you just said like screw it, just like this one time?
Yeah, and then thrown up for like 3 hours.
And then you regret it instantly.
Yeah, it wasn't worth it after it happens.
Then that's when you appreciate these products, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, is there anything that any of you would like to add that you didn't get a chance to say throughout? Okay. All right. Well, thank you for your time.
Thank you
We
so
really
much for
appreciate
participating.
it.
You guys did a great
Yeah,
job.
You guys did do a good job.
Thank you guys so much.
Yeah. Give yourself a round of applause.